You referenced the Axios story that came out talking about some of the reporting around President Trump looking at these reports. It mentioned Tucker Carlson as a vice presidential candidate, the fact that Melania Trump really likes the idea. What do you think about Trump's? Let's just start with Tucker Carlson. Would he make a good vice president?
I think Tucker make a great vice president. I just don't think. Well, because I think he's got a very clear vision of what MAGA and America First are. He's got a very clear vision of the politics, of the policies of it. He's savvy in politics, and he's got something that's so important in today is the ability to communicate. Trump shows us more than anything, the ability to communicate those ideas to a mass audience is very important. Now, if you ask me, he was a likely candidate now, I don't think so, because I am adamant, or not adamant. My thinking is very structured that I believe President Trump will have a female as the vice president.
Thank you.
When people pitch Tim Scott and Carlson, who I love, Tim Scott's a good man, Tucker, I said they're all terrific. But I think we got to start looking at that list of 10 people that are females. And I think President Trump.
So give me that list.
Well, I think it's people this is why I think it's very important for America First to make sure it ain't Nikki Haley, because Fox News was just out the other day when they had the Murdoch Wall Street Journal poll that showed her up 17 on Biden. They came out the next day and said, "Gosh, Deucent there, how he throws things out." He says, "Man, maybe she should just run as an independent." So they're pushing hard to make sure she's got a place.
Let's go down the list. Kristi Noem, yes or no?
Kristi Noem, I think, will be very competitive, given her understanding of the MAGA movement. Came out of the Tea Party. Very close to President Trump. I think you got Elise Stefanik, right? I think you've got you're going to have some other,
Sarah. You put Sarah on that list.
Put who?
Sarah Sanders.
I think Sarah Sanders Huckabee's on that list, or Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, is on that list. I think actually Nancy May. If you take the broader list of women, I think you have.
I heard what you said. Do you honestly think Nancy Mace, after the thing that she has said about President Trump, you really think that I poo-pooed that earlier this week after the Wall Street Journal included her in a list. Do you really think that President Trump, I think he is, he's savvy. He understands what somebody brings to the table. He wants someone who understands the role of the vice president, i.e. don't outshine me, and you can be ready day one. Do you think Nancy Mace is one of those people?
She voted to send me, Sean, to a federal prison. She's been on War Room twice. No, I think because of her. Look, I'm not saying she's a perfect candidate. There's not a lot of perfect candidates there, right? All of them have some pretty big shortfallings, at least as of now. I think Nancy Mace would have to be included in the list. First off, just her Trumpian attitude. She comes at this with a brashness and a set of titanium balls that's very, Trump loves fighters, right? And so I think she's got a devil-may-care in your grill. I think that, and particularly in this day and age, in this movement, a lot of people, don't trust her because things he said about President Trump in the past, some of his stances on social issues, particularly abortion and some of the other things. But I think she's got to be included in the mix, along with Governor Huckabee, along with Governor Noem. Obviously, Nikki Haley's going to have a role there. I think Kari Lake could be very prominent. I think Elise Stefanik, particularly as Elise Stefanik, what she's done over the last couple of weeks on the anti-Semitism and how she's handled herself and comported herself. I think Marsha Blackburn. Look, you've got a lot of women.
That's a good one.
I would have said Kim Reynolds would have been on the short list.
I agree. See, Kim Reynolds, I think, would have been awesome until she went out on a limb for DeSantis.
Top 5. Not just out on a limb. It's like a kamikaze mission. What can't you read in the numbers and about the organization and no movement? And also this, look, I think Ron DeSantis has been a terrific governor of Florida, and I support a lot of the stuff he did, not just the vaccine. I like the way he went after corporations. It's quite populist. I mean, he went after the corporations, woke and weaponized. He went after the school. But it's something about getting a little more water under the bow in waiting. I think he's really hurt himself. I just don't see him as a viable presidential candidate, even in the future with MAGA, just the way this whole thing's gone. And now he's gotten into the personal attacks on President Trump and President Trump's presidency. You're just burying yourself because you're not going to win. You've already stated, and everybody stated, and Fox has stated, and Karl Rove has stated, you got to win Iowa. You're not going to win Iowa.
Right.
And so you've staked it all there. And that's what I think Kim Reynolds I don't get, because I would actually put her in the top 5.
I agree.
I think governors like Noem and Huckabee and Reynolds bring something. That's why if Kari Lake had won the governor, if it hadn't been stolen from her, I think she'd have been in the top 2 or 3 for the short list. Right now, she's running for the Senate, it's a little different, but the female governors have done such a good job.
Let me ask you on Kari, though. Don't you think, like, to your point, Kari's been a journalist and a reporter. She didn't win that. I mean, the point is that without any experience, could Trump still, I mean, if he were to name her, would that be problematic that she doesn't really come with any, you're the vice president, you're one heartbeat away. Do you think that people would buy into that?
I think so, because given her, first off, her learning curve, that she would be Trump's wingman. Yes, I think in her, and she's got a unique set of attributes. Once again, the ability, she's clearly, I think, one of the best communicators.
Oh, she's very effective as a communicator.
And I think President Trump's going to, in this, look, let's think of what the second term is going to be. It's going to be a grind. I mean, you've got geopolitical crises, you have a financial capital markets, economic crises, you have 9 million illegal aliens here for deportation. There's so many, I mean, top orders. The president's going to need to give some of those, not just for execution, but also for selling the program. I think Kari Lake could be terrific in that. But here's my point. I think you've got a half a dozen to a dozen women who are very viable, right?
Yeah, no, I think
it's a wealth of, but I don't see, and I like Byron Donalds. I like these guys. Tim Scott's a good man. Byron Donalds is a great guy. Of course, Ben Carson's my guy. I love him. Tucker's fantastic. I just don't see it being a male.